I think that immigration it's a very hot topic right now. It ebbs and flows, and this is not the first time in our country's history that immigration has been very much in the news. But I think right now there's a lot of fear. It's easy when you hear a few stories on the television to presume that those represent the majority of immigrants. It's only when you have relationships with a lot of immigrants and they don't meet any of the stereotypes that you realize that some of those stereotypes might actually not be accurate.
My name is Michael. I'm a history and political science major.
My name is John Paul. I'm Michael's brother. I'm his oldest brother. I'm the son of Jackie and Ruben.
I was born in America, but my parents originate from Colombia. Growing up, things pretty much felt normal to me.
We don't sit at the table and just start talking about how you guys migrated. You know, it's not a subject that is that simple.
You know, they did the regular things that regular citizens do. They had their jobs, they paid their taxes. The thought never came to me that my parents were undocumented.
Every single day in this country, we learn to live by faith. Tomorrow, we don't know.
The decision that a lot of these families have to face goes beyond whether or not they will respond to a legal demand. It becomes a question of, will I continue to feed my family or not? People are not coming here just because they want to be rebellious, because they want to betray laws, or just because they want to break into this country. They're coming here because they're starving in their countries. It's an issue of survival for them.
My parents come to this country, they're not legal at all, they're not citizens. They would always try to keep that personal and keep it between them. I remember there's a story that there was some news going around that they're doing raids at the stores, and especially in the center, which is the main area of the town, and there's a lot of Hispanics. So she just tells me to wait, and I'm telling her, Mom, no, don't go. You know, scared for her, thinking that she might not come back.
I don't really think we're going to deport 12 million people from this country, which is what some people would like to do. But if the political climate changed such that that was actually on the table, that's going to be an enormous challenge for the church. And we're going to have a whole generation of orphaned kids. As last year we deported about 400,000 people, and a good percentage of those were parents. So it's a huge mess.
If I'm among friends who speak Spanish, but we're also around people who speak English, the first thing they say is, "Come on, why are you doing that? We all speak. I'm a little loud. People just looked at me. They're like they react very harsh and very violent almost, because they just can't understand that that's the first thing. You're in America. Speak English. You know, you're not in Colombia no more. You can't do this anymore. I'm just like, so I'm just supposed to denounce my upbringing and, you know, how my culture, you know, what makes me who I am.
In Philly, I think it was like a year ago, when there was the owner of one of the infamous cheesesteak shops. I don't remember which one it is, so I'm not going to throw out a name. He had a problem that there were immigrants coming into his store that would be speaking in Spanish or try to order in Spanish, and his view was that, you know, this is America, you should speak English. He actually had a lot of support in America. People were saying like, yeah, you know, we don't want these Spanish speakers in here, this is our country.
Does that ever really insult you if somebody just assumes that you're Mexican because you're Latino? Because there's the entire Latin American continent you could be from.
It's probably shameful to even say it, but like, if someone says the word immigrant, my first picture comes to mind is a Spanish-speaking person, and I feel like that's a completely inaccurate, you know, statement.
When the federal government took over the processing of immigrants in the 1890s, a new receiving station was constructed on Ellis Island. By the beginning of the 20th century, thousands reached the island's shores every day.
When I saw the building in this island, I say, wow, the door for the people came to America, you know?
Right now, we have 12 million people that don't have papers. Then I feel sad and mad too.
Yeah. When you came to this country, did you know your trade, your job, what do you have now?
No.
How did you get to where you are now?
My life changed because I working for 5 years in my country like a salesman. You know, it's like a office work. I came here, I can work in the same. I work in a factory for 6 months. So
I think it's cool that the things that define our lives, who we are and what we do, has been acquired here.
Because you guys are your nationality is from South America, but yet half of your life has been pretty much raised, or you've been grown here in the United States.
if God bring me here, they changed my life, and I think God gave me the opportunity to make another generation.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like you. You born here. For me, it's my new generation. Continue another generation in America.
Faith has played a very important part, if not one of the most important parts in my life. My parents were not Christians when they were in Colombia. They came here as a couple, not as a married couple. And by the time I was born, my parents were just regular members of the church.
Faith is the center of our family. We live every day by faith.
I mean, this isn't an issue that's just those people out there. This is an issue that is inside the church, because immigrants account for the fastest growth in evangelical churches in the United States, which means that it's not an issue of those people out there, it's our issue. And we have to decide how we're going to respond to that. But our posture in that makes a difference, because if an immigrant walks into my church and hears me at the coffee pot saying, wow, those illegal immigrants, I wish they'd just, go home. Well, they're probably not going to go home, but they're probably not going to come back to church either.
Grace, by definition, is unmerited favor. And certainly we would not have nor enjoy the blessings that we do had it not been for God overseeing our illegal status, our spiritually illegal status. It's the church's responsibility to address that need as we would address every other need, and that is to provide an atmosphere for open dialogue and communication, one that's not threatening, one that is well-informed, and one that is rooted in Scripture. Whatever the outcome of this is, will not only dictate what the future laws of this country are, but it'll also dictate the future morality of this country and our future views on family. And that's what I think is missing in this debate.
It's funny that my mom hears the Star Spangled Banner and she loves our national anthem more than she loves her own. She listens to her national anthem and it does nothing to her. Just like any other, just like if you're listening to Russia's or whoever's country's anthem and you're like, wow, that's a pretty anthem. But then you hear our country's and you get that sense of pride and joy to hear our country's anthem. The same way I, as a citizen, listen to it, I'm like, wow, man, it's so beautiful. My mom, as an immigrant, easily she could say, I don't like this anthem because this country hasn't done me any justice. This country, doesn't love me, or this country, whatever. But no, in the country, my mom loves this anthem. This is where she believes she belongs. And the reality is there's just so many families like that.
I'm part of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Association. One of the requirements for the application is to write an essay starting off with, I have a dream.
I have a dream is one of the most powerful and recognizable statements in the history of this great nation. Although simplistic in its written state, this phrase in itself holds profound connotations of one man's desire for a better world. These present-day victims suffer from the denial of their basic human rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These individuals are otherwise known as undocumented immigrants. In today's day and age, undocumented immigrants are looked upon with the same repugnance that is reserved for criminals. Ironically, however, immigrants were the very settlers that founded this country, this great melting pot. In the same way that Martin Luther King Jr. faced and overcame many of the obstacles before him, so can the immigrants who decide to trust in God to make a way where there is no way. For as Martin Luther King once said, we must accept final disappointment, but we must never lose infinite hope. I hope and pray that these same dreams will resonate in the hearts of all men,